Hello. It's Monday.
Monday?
It's Monday.
Monday! Yay! What flavour buns are we having? It's too late for hot cross buns. They were yesterday.
No, they were Friday.
Cinnamon buns.
Isn't it Friday hot cross buns?
Any day's hot cross buns. They sell them all year round now.
Well, yeah. But anyway, hello. It's Monday.
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 Mundane day for some, but not for others.
What's it for us?
Monday.
Not mundane day.
No, every day's mundane day for us.
Today's vlog is not going to be terribly long because Mr. J and I are heading to the studio to record a bit more podcast.
Oh yes, we have some podcast conversational bits to do.
And that goes on to my Patreon page. So if you haven't seen our Patreon page yet, I'd like to invite you to do so.
And then of course, you know, if you feel like subscribing, that'd be wonderful. If you don't feel like subscribing, that's fine too, but you're missing out on some stuff.
It's good stuff.
Oh, it's good stuff. we don't do no rubbish around here.
Well, except for when we recycle old
That's
old
different.
rubbish.
That's good stuff though.
Oh, it is. It's good for us.
That's good good, you know, it's good rubbish recycling. It's good stuff. We don't recycle stuff we can't recycle. That's rubbish. We don't do rubbish.
Or something. Completely sidetracked. And the other thing Mr. J needs to do today is to record a radio show.
Yeah, I've got both next week's shows need recording so that they can be uploaded, that's the word I was groping for, to the stations so that they can go out on the various time slots next week.
Uplifted is great.
Airlifted.
My brain is like Swiss cheese today, isn't it?
It is. Even more so than normal.
Yeah, and I do have brain fog days.
Mm.
And some days I'm just... Brain is occupied with other things, actually. I think I'm thinking about other things. But today, it's just a bit Swiss cheesy. Got holes in it. And I thought today we might talk a little bit about what we're expecting for spring. Last night over supper, we were talking about the difference between last year and this year.
And the year before.
And the year before.
That's the year before last, not the year before this year, because that's last year.
And I've lost my train of thought now. Okay, no, I'm there. And looking back at a video from a year ago, I already had quite a suntan from the weather having been so mild, and we'd had a lot of days of sunshine, and there was a lot going on in the garden already.
And now it's grey and horrible.
It is.
And windy.
We'd hatched 3 batches of chicks, and so our year in terms of activity outside started much sooner last year, didn't it?
But you did plan this year that the hatchings were going to be later, although we've had the first chick hatch, and they're now what, 10 weeks old?
9, 10
weeks old, and just about ready to get moved into more adult accommodation. And we got the ducks that will be here in
10 days.
10 days. So there is still stuff going on, but we obviously with the weather, with obviously with the weather, both the snow and the wind and the rain and the wind and the rain and the wind
and the snow
and the wind and the rain, and it's been a lot of it.
And it's all been much later this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've had a few decent days, but they've been a few decent days rather than a couple of decent weeks. I mean, last year in March, I think February, March, we were sitting outside drinking wine in the evening in t-shirts. Yeah. Wine out of a t-shirt tastes disgusting, but never mind. And this year, it's too cold to do that. It's too cold to be outside, you know, without quite a lot on. We've had a few days when I've been out working when I haven't needed, you know, a fleece and a jacket. And
I had that one day when I was building the raised bed when I had to change into a short sleeve t-shirt. But that was it. It was one afternoon, and here we are, 2nd of April, and we just seem to have had a long winter. But I think part of that is that it started so late because we had a very good autumn, and last year we had a good early spring and summer, and I mean this is what, our 2nd full year here, so
in some ways it's a little early to start going, oh well, it's a bad year or a good year, because we haven't really got the data to compare it to.
I don't think it is our second year. I think it's our third spring. Oh yeah, so that's our second full year. No, we didn't.
No,
we
yes.
had our third.
So this is right. So this is what our third year here.
Yeah.
So in some respects, it's a little bit early to be saying, oh, this is a bad spring or this is a late this or whatever, because actually we haven't really got the data to look back and give a proper comparison.
No. Only in comparing it to last year.
And the year before.
And the year before. So the first year we were here, by the beginning of April, I'd laid out a couple of pathways, hadn't I?
And we were
planning, and we just started building the first of the raised beds. This time last year, I had a greenhouse absolutely chock-a-block full of seedlings and small plants waiting to go out.
You were beginning to get them at about 12 months ago, but you were panicking that you weren't going to get them all out in time.
Right. How wrong could you be? It surprised me at just how different the springs are when you're effectively trying to do a very similar thing year on year.
Except, yes, similar, but not the same.
No.
In that 12 months ago, or 24 months ago, we were building from scratch.
Yeah.
12 months ago, we were discovering the things that we'd forgotten to do in the winter. Oh, you had fun with that. But also patching up and adjusting things a little bit. And this year, you decided to do quite a lot of things later, because you thought you did some of them too early last year. So that's, it's going to be an interesting season.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see if everything catches up.
No, especially you.
Especially me, yes.
We were also talking over supper last night about the fact that we've only just recently... I mean, how long ago is it since you've switched off the fourth freezer?
About probably a month.
About a month. So we've had 4 freezers full of food. We're down to 3 freezers full of food now. Vast majority of which was grown here in the last 12 months. We're still eating fresh and frozen fresh vegetables.
So we're still picking from the garden.
Yeah, and we've still got stuff that was, picked and frozen within minutes.
Yes.
So we were anticipating that maybe during the winter we were going to have to buy an awful lot more fruit and veg, and we haven't, which has been very nice. We've been much more self-reliant than I think you'd anticipated.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
In some respects, that takes a little bit of the pressure off getting things in quickly, but obviously we don't want to make sure that there's stuff there to do the same in 12 months' time.
Yes. Yeah, so yesterday we were eating... yesterday I went and had a look in the freezer in the barn, which I haven't opened for maybe 3 months. Wow, there was loads of stuff in it I'd forgotten we had. So there was a huge bag of beetroot, which we ate some of roasted last night. There are masses and masses of blackberries.
Mm-hmm.
So I've made a blackberry and apple crumble without a crumble.
Right.
I don't know what you call that.
Blackberry and apple slop.
I've made some blackberry and apple slop, and that's not a very nice word for it. However,
blackberry and apple splut.
I've made some stewed blackberry and apple, but there's easily enough blackberries there to make another demijohn of wine.
That'd be nice.
Or possibly 2.
That'd be even nicer.
There are all the plums and damsons, and there's wild plums and the Mirabelle plums and all that sort of thing from last year. We haven't even started those yet.
Right.
And they will all be made into... You don't like plum jam, do you?
I'm alright with it.
We don't have bread to put it on.
No, not really.
So that will all be made into wine as well. Well, nice, but there's no point in it going to waste.
Absolutely not.
There's also no point in it sitting there filling up the freezer.
Well, we're going to need the space for this year's beans and pulses and
beans, yeah.
And frozen lettuce and frozen cabbage and all that sort of stuff.
I don't freeze lettuce. I do freeze cabbage.
Yeah, I know.
So that's what's going on in terms of the garden, or lack of going on in the garden.
It is too cold to go out and do anything. It's the wind is so stiff here that even togged up to the 9s, you go out, you get a bit warm, so you remove a layer or 2, then you get buffeted and you come in because you're cold.
Yeah. Yes. And we may be just being wimps, but actually we don't need to be heroes.
No, I mean, when I'm working, I'm keeping a good pace going, but I'm actually moving over space rather than around a space.
And also, it is windier here.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking outside because I'm not sure up in the top of the tree there whether we've got a crow has just arrived or whether that's one of our buzzard friends.
I think it's a crow. Sorry.
Disappointingly, yes, I think it's a crow too.
Particularly, by the way, it was flying backwards. It's that windy.
It is windy. It's very windy again today. As Mr. J said, I chose this year to start the hatching much later, and I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I waited because the weather has been really, really unkind for them. So they haven't managed to get out on grass when we wanted them to. So they're about 3 or 4 weeks behind where they would be in our normal system of getting babies out of the nursery pen into a brooder house, and then from there to the main flock. So it's all been a lot slower, and in some ways that's quite nice because it's gentler.
Yeah, well, there is the risk that then later in the season we'll be rushing to catch up.
Yeah, I think the other thing that we did last year was I chose to increase the size of the chicken and duck flock, particularly the chicken flock, quite considerably. And this year I'm not feeling the need to hatch 100 chicks again.
Good.
It was a lot of chicks.
It was an awful lot of chicks. It'd be quite kind of nice. I mean, when the incubator isn't going in the kitchen is a lot quieter.
Yes, you can probably just hear that clicking in the background. That's the turner of the incubator, which I think is missing a cog or something, but it makes a noise, but it still does what it needs to do.
I was actually thinking more though the hum.
Oh yes, and
the hum of the motor is noticeable when you switch it off.
Yeah.
I mean, with regards to the spring, we've got various outdoor jobs once the weather's a little bit kinder that we want to do. I know there's a few building projects you've got in mind, and some re-netting and fixing of. I know I've got some fences to fix.
Yeah.
Got to get some fence posts in because some of them are knackered. Basically, they're 5-6 years old and they've done
just
their
rotted
time
at the bottom, haven't they?
So need to get some more of those and whack those in. But it's all a question of time and effort and energy and enthusiasm, and the weather being kind enough that you don't feel completely put upon after a day's work to come in and whack in a couple of fence posts or whatever. It'll all get done eventually.
Well, and it'll get done in time. It's fine. I need to apologise if it looks like I've been crying. I haven't actually been crying. I've been laughing so much that I've cried.
That means you've been crying with laughter. Crying with laughter.
I've been crying with laughter.
That's the phrase you were groping for.
But I've had to cut that out of this video because
she loses the thread when she cries with laughter, and she bangs her head on the table, and she falls over and things like that. And it's great slapstick, but we haven't got a moving camera, so she just keeps going out of shot. So
that was that. I haven't actually been crying. But on what I was trying to tell you, and what I cracked up laughing, was that on Easter morning we had scrambled eggs for the first time since we've lived here.
2.5 years.
2.5 years, and I don't think we had them very much in our last house. So
once maybe. So that's twice in 6 years. That's enough for me.
You're not a scrambled egg.
I'm not a great fan of scrambled eggs.
You don't mind an omelette?
I don't mind an omelette, but it's a bit different. Scrambled egg. Why? How? Why? What? Where? When? And who? That's the question.
Because I think someone made an omelette
and mucked it up.
And went, oh, that'll do.
I mean, a nice bit of pepper on it did help, but it gets boring after a bit, doesn't it?
Well, no more boring than an omelette gets.
Yeah, they get boring after a bit as well.
Yeah, they do. They do get boring after a while. After a few
And then you
mouthfuls.
turn them into quiches.
And they get boring as well. Eggs on their own can get a bit boring. Much as so we love eggs.
Just as well.
Much as so we love eggs, they do get a bit boring if it's, and a bit samey. That's it. It's not as boring, it's samey, isn't it? Yeah.
And yet they're fascinating things, as
David Attenborough.
Sir David Attenborough will tell you.
So, if you haven't seen it, it is worth checking out. I'm sure it's available on Tinternet, on some sort of catch-up service.
Yeah, if you're not in the UK, it probably isn't yet.
Okay.
If you're in the UK, catch it on the BBC iPlayer. If you're not in the UK,
you may have to wait
until it gets shown on public service television, which I'm sure it will do around the world.
Anyway, should we tell them what it was?
Was it called Attenborough on Eggs or something like that?
Attenborough on Eggs, something like that. And it was fascinating. It was absolutely intriguing.
And they put it out for Easter, which is very appropriate.
So it was, and it was about eggs. Not surprisingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good. We recommend it.
There's your post-vlog viewing recommended for you.
So, as we said at the beginning, this wasn't going to be a terribly long vlog.
Yeah, we have stuff to do, but it's stuff that isn't so easy to do whilst sitting in front of a camera or carrying a camera around to do it, because you need free hands.
And so, wherever you are in the world and whatever you've got planned for today, I hope it's a good one. And I also hope you can join me again tomorrow.